17th, 2026, BC government came out with their BC budget 2026. People with disabilities were left out. Seniors, anybody low income, left out. That's what we call EB's loser budget, right? And this is definitely something that I'm going to be talking about next. The impact that it's having on our community and around British Columbia. Stay tuned.
PWD Allies, the best disability podcast in Canada. Starring your hosts, Brent Frain. And as always, his producer and editor, Neil Matheson.
BC Budget 2026 was released on February 17th, delivered by our Finance Minister, Brenda Bailey. It was going to be a quite a fiscal budget, hey? Just really tighten the belts. And what happened? Yeah, the belt really got tightened, all right. It almost felt like a noose. Or it's a real gut punch, actually. I'll use the word gut punch because I'll call a spade a spade. A gut punch for people on low income. They really got hurt really bad on this budget. People with disabilities, seniors, anybody on a fixed income. If it was already bad enough with the cost of living ballooning way up there, I mean, the affordability, is it definitely, I call it a state of emergency. A lot of the critics will call it a crisis. I call it what it is, a state of emergency. Because really the fact is that the government went after the most vulnerable, right? The lower end of the spectrum of the taxation. When the taxation was already hurting people with the amount of taxes that we pay in British Columbia. Sure, other provinces pay a lot in taxes too, but everybody knows that BC is the most higher cost of living out here. So what do? Do we take care of our citizens before before a state of emergency takes effect? Affordability crisis, cost of food, everything has gone up. Wages, incomes have not kept pace at all. I could go back into our time machine and look back at what the buying power was for people with disabilities on a fixed income. And I call it a fixed income because it was a fixed income way back when GAIN was in effect in British Columbia.
Yeah.
So when GAIN was in the mid 1990s until the
and that was back. Sorry, Brent, but I just want to make the point that was back when people with disabilities were respected. I mean, having a disability was a respected thing. That's why you had GAIN, because it was a guaranteed income. It wasn't something that was subject to clawback, right?
Exactly, and it was equivalent to a senior's pension, right? When seniors a guaranteed income, and that's what the people with disabilities. That's what the income was. The income wasn't equivalent, but it was actually the equivalency of a guarantee that it's like a pension. It wasn't going to get taken away. And the government of the day decided, well, hey, we can't have people with disabilities, being protected under a system that seniors have. So we want to make it income tested.
All this income. I mean, there's a reason I put 3 unicorns on the thumbnail, Brent. There's a reason why I put three unicorns on the thumbnail. It's because everything's all unicorned. It's like everything's income tested. It's like how well can we screw over people with disabilities or people on low income like our seniors? Like this budget, say again, it deliberately targets people on low income. So it's going after people with disabilities. It's going after our seniors, and it's basically giving a middle finger and saying, the government doesn't care about you. Too bad. You're going to pay 7% for yarn. You're going to pay 7% extra for a basic cable. You're going to pay 7% more for a basic phone line.
Yeah.
How many seniors do you know that have a cell phone plan? I don't know very many, because they all stick with their basic phone. And here you have Brenda Bailey saying, well, nobody uses the basic phone. And I use a basic phone. I love my basic phone because
exactly.
I want to have a line that's tied to my home that's not dependent on some cell tower going bananas.
Yeah, or the power goes out.
Or the power goes out.
Work.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
exactly.
like it's just.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's brutal. This budget is. It's austerity. It's full on austerity budget for people on low income, and it doesn't even stop there. It goes after small businesses. Those small businesses are already struggling on they've just been taxed to the hilt. And bookkeeping. It goes down to the security. They're having to hire more security for businesses. They're being taxed. That's a new tax on security to protect those small businesses that are already hurting. And why are they hurting? Well, there's a lot of underlying reasons why there's poverty. That's the underlying issue, right? So it's a whole domino effect, and people are unfortunately struggling beyond struggling. People who work in the small businesses, they're already barely getting by. They're having to couch surf in some cases because they don't have a fixed address because they can't afford the high market rent.
Yeah, and tell everybody, like, if you are couch surfing, what happens, Brent?
Okay, so if you're couch surfing because you can't afford the high market rent and you're a person with disabilities, that you are medically assessed and designated on the system when the BC government as a person with disabilities. And I'll emphasize again, you can't just get on to disability. You have to be medically assessed and designated by a doctor.
Is it by a doctor or is it by a premier? Does a premier decide or does a doctor decide, Brent?
Well, the premier would love to decide on his own or her own, whoever is the premier of the day. Because the thing is, the doctors can actually say you are medically assessed and designated because they actually have to prove that you meet the criteria. However, there are premiers way back when who would try to go and try to reassess people to see if they're still disabled. Oh, has your disability gone away? Oh, amazing, it's gone away now. Poof, no, it hasn't. So with that being said, people that are couch surfing, or they don't have a fixed address because they can't afford the high market rent. Who could afford high market rent on a whole PWD check? You can't. You can't even get by on $500. That's a joke. Like that $500 shelter issue. Oh, it's more of a look what we did. $375. Frozen for what? 16 freaking years. I know. I used to count it down every month. I would do it. I'd call the $375 guy, and I'd be tracking this. And I didn't do it just to try to get clickbait. You know what I mean? People would say, oh, wow, hey, another month has gone by. My point was when I was doing that, when I was posting that, was to make a point of how stupid it was to keep rates stuck at a $375 rate because, I look back at it and you couldn't even rent anywhere, even for $375 way back in even in the 80s. It was, you couldn't even do it. It would be very hard. So again, when you're couch surfing, guess what happens? You don't have a fixed address. You don't get that shelter portion because it's not a fixed address. You have to have a permanent address. Then you will get that $500. If you don't have a fixed address, you're just, throwing some money. I don't know. Maybe you're throwing that $500 to somebody to where you're staying.
So it's just like we're on. Let's make a deal, Brent.
What's behind
door number one?
You get $983, or you get the $500.
And what's behind door number two?
You get a bunch of pink unicorns that are all stacked up.
And what's behind door number three?
Door number three, you get $0 increase in the BC budget 2026 if you are a person with disabilities, an adult with disabilities who are medically assessed and designated in the province of British Columbia on a fixed income. So that is what you get.
Well, David Eby gave himself a raise.
He did. He gave all his.
So he looked after himself first. He made sure he made it to look after himself first. That's always nice. Yeah.
He hired all the ministerial staff. Tons of people, tons of other staff in every ministry's office. wow, I mean, the money gets flushed away. I mean, they got other scandals that are going on with the Ministry of Social Development Poverty Reduction. I mean, it was on the news hour. We talked about that on the podcast before. I noticed that that kind of got swept under the rug, though. I noticed that the media is not even kind of doing a follow-up story with that, because they said, well, they recouped some millions of dollars, but the problem is that the system is set that way where they were just handing money out like candy to corporate landlords who, oh, you want a damage deposit? Oh, well, we won't question where it's going.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, like it wasn't a good situation. But the impacts of this budget, I tell you, on a personal level, I'm going to start on a personal level here, and then I'm going to talk about people in the community where I am and people that I'm hearing on social media, and also not just people with disabilities, but their family members and their family members and their family members. The impact is a whole ripple effect that it's having on our community. Even businesses that I can walk to. I've actually talked to some of them, and they're totally disgusted. They didn't know that people with disabilities got $0 in the BC budget. So I'm going to talk about that, just in a little bit in the podcast here, so people will get an idea of what's going on there. So on a personal level, this BC budget, before it came out, I talked to Sonia about it, and her anxiety was really elevated, everyone. There's a lot going on. I don't talk a lot about this on the podcast, but there's a lot going on where we live. We live in an older building in Victoria. It was like 1967 building. It's pretty old, but it's doable.
Year before I was born, Brent.
Before I was born, I mean, yeah, and there's some grandfather people in here who moved in here. Oh, geez. I guess about 14 years after it was built. So you can imagine there are some people that are paying around $1,000 for their rent now. There's a couple that are paying $1,100 and the rates go up. But there's a couple that are still grandfathered in here. Their units are falling apart. Our unit definitely needs some TLC, tender loving care. However, it's not going to happen, right? We were basically told in the grapevine that it is what it is, right? It's how you rent it as, and definitely things that need to be done. It won't get done. People say in the community, well, you can go and take them to the tenancy branch, take them and go and fight it. You know what happens? Right now there's at least a 2-year waiting list to actually have your hearing dealt with anyway in the tenancy branch. So that's not going to happen. And then the likelihood that you're going to win on that, it's probably not going to be a good thing. And if I did win, you're fighting against a corporate landlord. And so what would happen then is that they're going to find ways of trying to get you out, because now you're a problem tenant. You want a good reference. You don't rock the boat. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head right now. And that's where I'm going to go for in just a moment here, because right now, when rent increases go up every year annually, nothing in the BC budget, $0 this year. There's been nothing in the BC budget for shelter rate increase since 2023. But you know what? That was a COVID supplement. The government juggled that, right? They gave with one hand and take it with the other. So technically, there's been nothing in the budget since the actual technical budget in the BC government since 2019. Okay, but as we all know, COVID supplement came in 2020. That's when the COVID $300 supplement in BC came out. The government then in 2021, just before 2021, between 2020 and 2021, they had the $300. They cut it in half because they were going to phase out the program. So they were getting ready to phase it out to $150. We had made a decision, to live in Langley at the time, because I grew up in Langley. My neck of the woods. I could tell you I could walk probably blindfolded there, and I would know where pretty well everything is. Things have changed. But anyway, the fact is that the decision making, what the government said and what they did, are two different things. The ministry's office says, hey, this is the amount going forward. You have nothing to worry about. The government's not going to take it away. Well, they did. They cut it in half, and they were going to phase it out. We advocated hard. 300 to Live campaign. Sonia and I were helping with this 300 to Live campaign. We pushed the government hard on it. yes, we won. We won on it because they were going to take it away, and we said no, that this is going to affect our lives, our decision making, where we're going to live, buying healthy food, medication, accessories for Sonia for her conditions that she has, for myself, healthy food to maintain, just my just healthy well-being in general. You have to buy allergy medicines. You've got to buy excessive accessory things for my glasses, any enhanced optical stuff for enhancing small print to make it larger for myself. Like there's so many things that you have to buy. So anyway, all that being said, we decided that we're going to move in to a nice place. We saw it getting built. We lived in not such a nice place, so we moved and we saw this place getting built. And wouldn't it be nice to live there? We did. Anyway, long story short is the governments were phasing out this COVID supplement. So we pushed, and they gave back $25 of that $150. So now in 2021 they topped it up to another $25. So here you go. Where's $175? There's an increase for you. Well, that still wasn't enough for us to live where we were living, because we were basing our decision making what the ministry's office told us, and we told our corporate landlord who we were renting from, yes, this is the amount. So they were shocked. We had one manager who had left, and then the other one took over, and they were both yelling and screaming at me and Sonia, saying, we rented to you based on what you told us. So you lied to us. You lied, and like screaming. Manager,
well, the provincial government lied first, didn't they?
Yeah, and that's why I said the government lied to us. No, but we rented to you based on what you said. So what else are you lying about? That that you're not a person with disabilities? I'm like, no. Oh, I said the fact is this is the amount. And so it caused us a lot of stress, anxiety. We couldn't find anywhere that we could rent that was available at the time that we needed. So we had to give up our community. We had to
just a second, Brent. I just wanted to break in because Peter is in chat, and he makes a good point. He said, and this is true. He said the provincial government said that the COVID supplement was going to be temporary. So it's true that they did say that. But then Peter also makes a good point, saying it lasted so long that they should have just given it to us. They should have just left it alone, and that's true. So both of those things are true. They did say it was going to be temporary, but they kept it in place for so long, and they even knew it was helping. They even knew they could see it was helping so much. Yeah, and they should have just left it. Well, but they didn't. They just took it away again.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm going to make. Thank you, Peter, for bringing that up. Because I was told at the office that, yes, it's been in place for quite some time, that the government's now going to keep it permanent. I said, oh, wow, really? Yes. They're not going to take it away. It's making a huge change and benefiting people's their well-being. They said, people having disabilities, everybody struggles enough just with their disabilities, let alone extra added costs in their life. I mean, they got it at the office. They totally understood. The ladies were like bang on, like they got it, and they said the government will not take it away. Okay, you have nothing to worry about. So this is the amount going forward. This is your eligibility amount. They would print out, this is your eligibility amount. Take it to the corporate landlord, whoever you want in the future. Doesn't matter. This is the amount going forward. We will increase the rates going forward. I don't know when, but you have nothing to worry about now. So we went with that. I mean, Peter, you're right on that. Like it really made a huge difference. And yes, it was supposed to be temporary, and they were monitoring every 3 months, 4 months. The government was checking on it. Yeah, is it working? Yeah, okay. And so like we were able to buy healthy food. Our rent was, that amount was a lot higher, so we were able to rent a place, and like we could get by. We weren't living like a king and queen, no, but we were able to buy some clothing that we needed, a new pair of shoes, go and get a haircut. You go just go wherever you wanted to go. You didn't have to opt out of a bus pass in order to try to, make ends meet.
One of the things that really helped me, and this is going to seem kind of, I don't know, not very important, but, like when I had the extra $300, you felt like it was okay to eat out every once in a while, right? Like you could go eat out and have a nice meal, and you didn't feel bad. You're like, oh, I can afford that. Exactly. And I can't tell you the last time I actually ate out anywhere, Brent. I mean, like, I'm pinching pennies just like everybody else. I mean, even the people that aren't disabled are pinching pennies, right? So I honestly cannot remember the last time I went out to eat anywhere. But I'll tell you, like, that was one thing that I did enjoy a couple times a month, or even just once a month. We would set aside a bit of that $300 to go and have a nice meal, and so, like, think of all the restaurants that could be profiting from people with disabilities or seniors that have had a bit more money in their pockets. If you had just a bit more money in your pockets, I could be helping local businesses, local restaurants with going to see them for a nice meal.
Absolutely.
But now I can't because I'm pitching my pennies. So it's no, I have to say to the restaurants, no soup for you, like, because I can't afford your soup. So sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly the impact. Like, when the reporters asked, Sonia and myself had interviewed us from Global News. They came out right to where we were living a few times, and I had newspapers coming out, like other TV stations. I mean, every time I turn around, I would get another message, an email. Yeah, hi, I'm so and so from the media. I'd love to come out to interview you. Like, I was getting bombarded every time I turned around. It was like, there was another one, and I would tell the same story, and then they ran with it. They were like, these are the founders of the 300 to Live campaign. I'm like, no, we weren't the founders. We actually were helping them, but they ran with it in their article, and I thought, oh my gosh, okay, well, whatever. And they're like, and then I guess they got the story mixed up because they were talking about getting by. They have a little child, and they're scraping by. I'm thinking, no, we don't have a child. We don't have a kid. But they ran with all this stuff, and I thought, okay, you got this one. And they just buggered it all up, and I think it was CBC.
Fact check.
Yeah, they just like totally messed it up, but I thought, okay, whatever. Like, but the fact is that they all reached out, and I know that they wanted to cover the lived experience stories, like how it was really having a positive impact on our lives. I had that, that flight feeling, everybody, when your gut, that you just know that there's something wrong. Like, that there's something wrong, but you kind of fight against it, and you say, well, you know what, it's probably just me, let's just go with it. I had that feeling that when we lost our place, it was like a sorrow to me of going like, oh, like, I don't want to move to where we were moving to. And our manager, she did everything she could. She says, like, I don't want you to move, but I want you to see you guys happy. But if it's cheaper, then you know what? I mean, go for it, right? But, you do realize it's going to be an older building. It's not going to be a new one. You're going to have to deal with whatever. So when we moved, we thought, okay, like, I kept thinking in the back of my mind, like, I talked to our really wonderful manager we had at our new place that we had moved to when we saw built. Well, she took over from the other manager anyway. She said, well, I mean, the government will obviously at some point in time, and her intuition was that 175. She says, what happened to the 300 though? I said, I don't know. She said, at one point in time, they're going to reintroduce that 125 down the road. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. I said, I don't know. She goes, they will. And sure enough, 2 years later, they put it in. Mm-hmm. But she said, it's going to be too little too late because you would have already moved by then. And so when we moved to a cheaper place, the cost of living went up. And then, so that wasn't so, we finally got the 125 back of the 300, but it was already too late. And then so that was the last year that they had raised the so-called shelter, but they borrowed that COVID amount, right? So they make it look like they raised it. So, I mean, they didn't give nothing after that. For our rate increases, the cost of living ballooned. So now, where we're living now, it feels worse. If this makes any sense to everybody, it feels worse now where we're living than when we were living in Langley, because like we were getting by, but with that COVID supplement, so we were able to get by. Now the buying power, it feels that we're actually worse than we were in Langley, and we're living in a cheaper place. So you can imagine, like, the cost of living, the rates have not kept up. And so when this budget before it came out, Sonia said, well, we're going to have to cut back. I go, oh, why? I mean, and I said, like, why? And I said, like, we've already cut back. She goes, well, I mean, they're probably going to give something in the budget, probably a small amount. I said, Sonia, don't count on it. I said, do not count on.
I already knew that they wouldn't.
Yeah,
I already knew that they wouldn't.
Yeah, and I said to her, like, I said, don't count on them. I said, because I said David Eby had already kind of gave me a hint back in.
He was dropping hints like every which way,
After he got in 2024, when he was on CKNW, well, we raised the earnings exemptions, and we're always going to be there to protect the most vulnerable. But you know what? If you haven't seen the earnings exemptions, then just you might want to go and get a job. You know what? Like, the hint was right there as soon as he said that.
I want David Eby to get a new job.
Yeah. Well,
as a used car salesman or something like that, please.
Well, yeah, and there'll be his colleagues that are going to when they have a confidence vote coming up, because there's a part in the budget that the merit commissioner that they quietly put in the budget. Now it's going to be confidence vote coming up.
But you know what, Brent? It requires 4 or 5 NDP MLAs to grow spines, to grow spines and say, you know what, we're mad as hell and we're not taking this anymore from an incompetent premier. Like, it blows my mind, honestly. We've talked about before. Like, I say all the time, I know David Eby is a smart man. I know he is. But he sure doesn't show it. And let's again contrast when John Horgan was premier, and like he ran a tight ship, right? And you knew everybody was on board. Everybody had the same mentality of like, for John Horgan, it was all about how can I do what's best for the people of BC, right?
Yeah.
But now with
try his best, yeah.
Yeah, but now with David Eby running the show, you've got all of these BC NDP MLAs that are just just drowning in this toxicity of David Eby, and it's like everybody's IQ level has dropped like 30 points.
Yeah, it's almost.
I'm being serious. It just seems like everybody in that cabinet now has just dropped 30 points of IQ.
Well, I just, when I watch Question Period on the BC Leg channel or an opportunity of actually going there in person, which
you did just the other day too.
That was quite the walk down there actually to the BC Legislature, I tell you. But I got down there in time. But going there and just looking at the body language, it's like I know I can read the body language. I said to Sonia, let me look at the body language, because like we were watching live in person, or I watch on TV, and I can picture the body language that a lot of them, they want to say how they feel.
I wish they would. I want somebody from the BC NDP to throw David Eby under the bus. Like backwards and forwards, like run him over like a few times.
I would love to see some of the.
I want to see that.
To actually stand up in the legislature and actually say how they feel and how the government is treating people with disabilities with disrespect. Like $0 in the basic budget. To me, when that came out, when Brenda Bailey the finance minister had said that it was, there was talk about, it's going to be an austerity budget. She was not going to be a popular person. She says, I'm not going to be the likable person. As soon as I heard that well in advance, I thought, oh boy, this is not going to be a very good budget. So what happened was, before the budget came out, we canceled our grocery delivery service. Some people say, well, what is that? There's different companies that will deliver your groceries. You pay your membership fee once a month or once a year. We had a once a year membership fee, $99 once a year. So once a year, it's done deal. Well, then there was an option going down to $9.99 plus tax, right? You pay more if you do it that way per month. You save if you do it per year because you get a discount, right? But then you're still paying the, they'll say there's no delivery fee, but they nail you with all these other fees and
surprise,
like a delivery response fee and like all these other taxes and all these other ones embedded in. You're looking at anywhere from $15 to $20 per delivery, right? And then you're still paying that $9.99 a month or per year. So we looked at each other and said, no, like this is before the budget came out. I said, we're gonna have to scrap it. Yeah. Okay, because I'm not gonna I have to foresee that there's gonna be nothing in the budget, and so we were being proactive. Opt out of the bus pass. Okay, so you opt out, you get $52. Now you got no transportation. So I figured, okay, now if you want it, you got to opt back in by the 5th of this month. Now we're in March. We're March 2nd now, 2026. I got 3 days to decide to opt in. If I opt in and say I want that bus pass back, guess when it takes effect, everybody? Not right away. April 1st. April 1st. So it'll take effect on the March check, which is always the next month.
I always think of that old commercial, Brent. Remember that? Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off, clapper. Right? Remember that? And it's exactly like that with the bus pass. It's like,
that's how
opt feels. In, opt out, opt in, opt out. The bus pass. Right?
Just give them back their bus pass.
It's just so stupid. I mean, and that again is an MLA with her IQ points dropped 30 points.
Yeah. It's like saying, well, this was a brilliant idea.
Michelle Stilwell, somebody that should have known better with a disability herself, her IQ dropped 30 points. Yeah. And says, well, let's take away a bus pass. Yeah. That's a brilliant idea.
But here's the kicker, everybody. People say, well, what the hell? What do you mean? So people with disabilities paid once upon a time, people paid $45 once a year, just like seniors have, right? Seniors still have the same equivalent one. So seniors, they didn't touch them. Oh my God.
Well, they're touching them now with the budget now.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't go after the seniors on that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't. So
let's claw back the bus pass now.
Oh yeah. Go after the seniors. Yeah. So people with disabilities.
No more free bus pass for anybody.
They got to choose. Now it all started under the Liberal government way back when, and then they renamed it to the BC United Party. Nothing to see here, right? But they took it away.
BC United, that's a soccer team, right?
Yeah, that's a soccer team, I think. Yeah, they lost actually. Yeah, they lost in overtime. So they took that away. I know because we were part of the campaign, Sonia and I, to fight about that bus pass to bring it back. We brought it to the then Premier John Horgan at the time when he was in opposition, and he said that's totally disgusting to take away a bus pass. So I mean, they stood up in the legislature, and you can go back in the YouTube history, everybody, and look up under the BC Legislature if you want to follow what happened there about the bus pass. Type in John Horgan about a BC bus pass, and you'll come up with that.
Just give them back their bus pass.
Yeah, the basic means of transportation. He said that was the most cruelest, callous thing that somebody could do. So fast forward through time, I mean, they wanted to reinstate the bus pass, but they weren't able to do it because they claimed that the BC Liberals had dismantled the bus pass program, which was BS. They just dismantled. Yeah. It was a little game that was played behind the scenes. Yeah. Status quo, let's keep it that way. So my solution, rather than bitching, complaining about it, so this is a message for the government. Here's easy peasy way of dealing with that whole scenario. John Horgan was right. It's a basic means of transportation. It was callous to take it away. Just give everybody back the basic bus pass. Yeah, and he, I won't use the language that he used because people could go back and listen to him. He was very fierce on it, and so am I when it comes to transportation, because it is an accessibility right to have. I mean, to be able to get to and from the basic means. So put a check mark beside all PWD, write down everybody, bus pass. Yeah. Same as seniors. Done.
Well, it was so simple before.
Let people keep the $52 by default that's on their check. Yeah. Done.
It was so simple before, Brent, because you just had to buy it once for $45. I mean, Peter is in chat and he says, well, to be fair, we got less money when it was $45. But the difference here, Peter, is that you paid one time. It was a one-time payment, and you had it guaranteed for a whole year. And now you have this whole clap on, clap off.
Yeah.
Opt in and opt out garbage.
Yeah.
And how much money are they spending on all this opting and opting out, like administrative crap? Probably a lot, right?
Well, the part that really gets me is putting that temptation in front of a PWD. So you don't raise the rate.
Do you want to eat this month, or do you want to ride a bus?
Exactly. It's like, well, let's don't raise the rates. So let's put the temptation there. Here, you can have this. But now you've got no transportation to go and get your groceries, to go to medical appointments, to be part of the community, to go visit family, friends. And now you've got to wait over a month to get around. Or you can go and put bus tickets in, or maybe get a bus pass through your city. But now it's going to cost you more for that same bus pass. So his easy solution is just give everybody the same bus pass back and just let them keep the $52, because they should be a lot more than that, but that'd be like a rate increase, right? Yeah. So I guess the impact that it's had on us is that we've had to really ration things, personally, cutting back. Cut back your meals. Your toiletries. The cost of everything has gone up so high, so you have to ration, like paper towel, toilet paper, toothpaste, shampoo, skip a shower, so you're able to try to you stretch out the your stuff, so you're not using it as much. I always think, well, hey, remember when Sonia goes, just think we were on a train. You can't have a shower every time, right? So just think of it that way. Unless you have accommodation on there. Where we lucked out, we had accommodation that time, but we did coach seating on our way back, and it wasn't so bad, but you had no access to showers. There was a lady I still remember, she was in coach seating. She tried to make her way over to go and use a shower. No, you're in this area. But seriously, the impacts that it has on us, it's caused Sonia a lot of stress and anxiety. We're dealing with people who live upstairs. Our floors creak is so bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Don't get enough sleep at nighttime. We don't know that anticipation of, oh God, now they're in this room, now they're in that room. It's like, did you hear them? Yeah, I heard them over here. Yeah, they're over here now. So it's like, you go in room to room, back and forth, and it's like, okay, well, you sleep over here. No, you sleep over there. It's like noise. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
So we don't have access to RGI. So I want to see
and what is RGI again, Brent? For
rent geared to income, and all people with disabilities should have access to every single person who's on disability assistance, which I still am going to advocate hard on the government. So FYI on that, government, I'm going to push you hard on this, that everybody on disability should have access to rent geared to income. It's a no-brainer. It's not one of those, oh, that's a brilliant idea. I brought that to the minister's attention years ago. My mom and I had this same discussion back in the 1980s, everybody. My mom knew about rent geared to income back then. And over time, she actually got onto a senior supplement over time. She didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it too much. A tiny bit. Like, one of my neighbors had it, but it didn't really faze me. Like, okay, what is that? Till my mom actually got on it. And then I had to talk to one of the workers who was helping her with it, who I didn't know at the time would have been my worker going forward with the Ministry of Social Development or Social Services. Wow. And that was when, guess what? It was a pension.
Yeah.
But it was a transition period. Okay. So with that being said, I had lengthy discussions with the worker and my mom about what is rent geared to income. Well, and the worker at the time, guess what? Government, this is gonna be one of those gut punches for you. Every PWD should have rent geared to income, and this came from one of your workers. Why don't you listen? And yet, here's the problem, everybody. The government, I found this out from now lived experience. Sonia and I found this out. I talked about this earlier on the podcast. The office says, oh, yeah, no, guaranteed. The government said, yeah, going forward, this is the amount. There's no communication from the ministry's offices to the government, to the ministry, to the ones in the legislature.
Yeah.
Each ministry's office, they are supposed to be communicating. There's
no. They seem to be clueless. Yeah.
Well, they are, because the fact is that the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And so we're stuck in the middle of decision making based on our, what is good for us based on what we're hearing, and they're not communicating. So I want to see, number one, communication between the ministry and actually the offices. Okay, when you tell somebody to go and get a crisis supplement, no questions asked, you go in there, and then you're told, no, it's a pre-existing problem, you don't qualify. Well, you know what? Put it on your check. Just put it on the check. If you're in a crisis, I call it a state emergency. Just put the money on the person's check. They don't need to go to the office or make a phone call and waste their time, especially if they don't have a bus pass. You got to go down there. Like, really? Are you kidding me? So again, one of our co-advocates, Jeff Leggett from the Disability Action of Canada, we actually went, Sonia, Jeff, and myself had a meeting with the minister, and we talked about these things, like put the money on the check. Like, you shouldn't have to go to the ministry to go and ask for help. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're asking for help, well, that means that your checks are not high enough to cover the cost of living, right? I mean, the minister said there's billions of dollars sitting in the minister's office right now, and within the ministry, for crisis supplements, like for supplements you can apply for medical.
Nobody can get access
and
to
nobody
it.
can access those supplements properly. So the money's there. You could just put it onto people's checks and raise it up to no less than poverty level financial support.
It's like that unicorn behind your head, Brent. It's laughing at you.
Right here, it's laughing
at you, saying, "Ha ha!
We don't want to raise."
You thought there was some COVID, some supplements you can get access to. Sorry.
But we clawed them off and we gave some of them back years later. But I mean, even the BC Green Party in BC and a lot of advocacy organizations are calling for no less than $2,400 a month. Okay, some of them are calling for $2,400 a month base amount. Okay, your base amount, and some of them are calling for $600 to $800 above that.
Yeah.
To cover for your rent because of the high cost of rent. Yeah. So that's going to push you just over $3,000. In reality, by the time that you pay your market rent, there's nowhere to rent for $500. I mean, that's a joke. I mean, that just needs to be thrown out to unicorns. Going to eat them up in a hurry. But you can't, like Sonia said, you can't rent anywhere for your whole budget. What I'm hearing, and that echoes with what I'm going to say next, is what I'm hearing in the community from other advocates or other ones that they're scared about speaking up. They say, oh, the government's just going to silence my voice out. So what's the point in speaking up? I said, you have a voice. You are you. I mean, don't try to change yourself for who you are.
Well, if you speak up, you might get fined $750,000, Brent.
Yeah, if you speak up, if you speak your mind, yeah. If you actually say
$750,000 for speaking the truth, Brent.
I heard that. Yeah. You don't want to speak your truth.
Don't speak the truth. We're gonna fine you $750,000. Don't
hand out more pink unicorns because pink unicorns. I mean, they all have a value to each one. I mean, but when the lady broke down in tears, she said what the impact on this budget has had. She had a pet. She had to get rid of her. She had two little kitty cats. One was 2 years old and the other one was 5. So the other one looked up to the other one. She said, I had to get rid of them. My family, I had to get rid of my family. I had to tell them my family. She called her family.
Mm-hmm. And they do become your family, yeah.
Well, yeah, and she said it was the pet food. It was a choice of either putting food on my table. And she said she would go a couple of days without eating so she could feed her kitty cats. But then she began to realize that before the budget came out, she was scared. There's not going to be anything in the budget. She was going to have to sacrifice. So she had to sacrifice her family to that she could put food on the table for herself and buy her hygiene items that she needed for herself. Her rent was going up, so she had to make a choice. Either take care of herself or take care of the other extension of her family, part of her family there. Her father is not doing well. So now she's having to make trips over to see her father. She can't afford basically it's off a bus route, so the bus doesn't actually go there. So now she has to use her bus to, she has a monthly bus pass opted in. But now she has to commute all the way out to go out toward Nanaimo, but there's an extension where you go out toward Campbell River, but there's an area where she lives, like her father lives further out, so she has to make quite the commute. And I talked about that on the podcast, that commute to go through Duncan and out to Nanaimo and stuff. So she does that route, but she has to then get a cab, and that cab it really eats out of her food budget. Mm-hmm. So she has to kind of sacrifice at times of going seeing her father. He's just going through some treatment right now. He's going to be okay, everybody, just to let you know, he's going to be okay. He had taken some bad falls on a work site that he was working on, but he just needs some extra tender loving care. Families that come around as best way they can to help him out. But again, it comes out of her food budget. Her rent increase eats out of that, nothing in the budget. Mm. She's scared just like we are. Like, where are we going to move to? Like Sonia talks about this too. Like, how many more rent increases can we take? We can't take, we got one coming up in June 1st. On October 1st, like you mentioned, cable and home phone, another tax, 7% tax. Like, you can't squeeze a towel, get more water out of that towel when it's sopping wet. Eventually it dries up. And we're worried, like, do we move all the way up to Chilliwack? Do we move out to Abbotsford? Do we move up to the Okanagan somewhere where maybe rents are cheaper than what we pay now? But here's the kicker. The government won't move you unless your rent is substantially reduced on what you currently pay. Not what the market is, what your current rent is. Yeah. So we're in a situation where like we're grandfathered in. Our rent is still way up there, but it's still cheaper than if we were to move into another unit in our building if it came available, which they rented out some other units in our building just recently, but the rent is a lot higher than what we're paying now. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? So we're in a situation where there's a long waiting list of BC Housing. I talked to them recently. I talked to some third-party vendors. I was actually really happy that there was a gentleman working at BC Housing that he had connections into the third-party sector, meaning that they're not affiliated with BC Housing, but he had a list of other providers. Mm-hmm. And my jaw dropped, Sonia's jaw dropped. She goes, oh my God. And the guy was being totally honest with me. Like, at first, I think he was trying to figure out what I was trying to say to him. I said, we are in market housing. We are housed right now. We're not on one of those, like a couch surfing. We're not like a no fixed address. We're housed right now, but we can't keep taking rent increases when there's nothing in the budget. And we worry that there's not going to be something in the budget. Okay, well, the budget hasn't come out yet. I said, right. But there probably won't be anything in the budget because this government doesn't like people with disabilities. Okay, so what is your question? I think he wanted to say how he felt, but he didn't want to say it because he couldn't. Okay, so what is it that we can try to do here for you? I go, well, how do I get into subsidized housing? You can't just get into subsidized housing. You can apply, but you have to meet the criteria. The policy states you need to meet the pre-existing qualifications, meaning, you have to be unhoused, you're condemning, place has to be sold or condemned. The list goes on. Mm-hmm. I know they can make other circumstance, situations. They can look at a scenario, and they want to avoid people to become homeless, right? However, our jaw dropped when we were told that there's 85 people on average per unit that's applying for one place. Peter, if you're watching, one place, 85 people for one place. Oh my gosh. And he said, so here's how it works, sir. So if you were to apply, it doesn't mean that you're approved. You could apply. It can take 4 to 6 weeks before we can even get to the application. And once we get to that application, you will get an email or perhaps a phone call, an email saying that yes, confirming that yes, we received your application. And that point on, now you're on a waiting list. You're waiting for a worker to call you. A worker will call you and assess your situation and then say, okay, well, we'll put you on a waiting list, whatever comes available. That could be months, years. And then this is where the kicker comes. This is the part where it's no soup for you part. Sonia says, I'll paraphrase what she said in just a moment. I said, what, months, years? I go, yeah, there's a long, he goes, sir, 85 people per place on average. There's not enough supply based on demand, supply upon demand. There's not enough housing getting built based on amount of need for housing. 17 years. It could be up to 17 years or plus. 17 years plus, he said. Sonia, quote unquote.
How old will you be then, Brent?
She said, we will be dead by then.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonia needs to be housed. I need to be housed. If it comes where we're homeless, where is Sonia going to store her diabetes medication? It has to be refrigerated, and it cannot be out of the refrigerator for more than 30 days. What are you going to do?
You
go
live at David Eby's house.
Exactly.
I'm sure he's got a little bungalow in his backyard.
We were homeless years ago. It was scary as hell temporarily. We had no fixed address. It was very scary. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Again, the government didn't listen to us. I mean, how many times, government, are you not going to listen to residents? We are, I mean, and I'm not going to get emotional. And I'm actually saying that in this podcast, this is not a rant and rave. Wait till rant and rave comes, government, on one of the podcasts forward.
I'm well behaved this time, right? Yeah. Brent.
For me, I'm just giving factual information on the impacts that, stupidity that it has in the budget. Like, I mean, I can tell you, like, just the impact that we have is when we heard 17 years, like Sonia's like, and I said, Sonia, like, her anxiety was going up, and I get it. Mine goes up too. I try to keep my anxiety down so that it doesn't affect Sonia. I just get pissed off with stupidity of the government's rationalization. I mean, John Horgan and I had many conversations, and I'm not going to start mentioning a bunch of names and making other people who know information feel awkward going, okay, Brent, you're not supposed to have been divulging certain information that I've talked to you about what John Horgan said. Right. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But there's people who knew John Horgan, and I mean, I had talks with him, and he wanted the best for everybody. He says, I can't be the super dad for everybody, but I feel like I'm dad for the provenance.
Yeah, and you really felt that. You really honestly felt that, right?
He did. He lectured me. He lectured me about advocacy. What was that, Sonia?
He also lectured me too.
He lectured Sonia too about advocacy wise, because we were bad. I mean, I was starting out my advocacy. I mean, I was advocating for many years before that, but he was teaching me certain things of, okay, well, you can be forceful and get across your point without swearing and cursing.
And I've definitely done that. I've definitely crossed the line.
I mean, me too. But I told him back on different things on approaching, because he said, if you want to command respect, you can say it in a very forceful way, get your point across, but being respectful at the same time. So he taught me a lot of things, and I'm so grateful. Like, and some people say, well, how can you praise a guy who destroyed this province? I mean, everyone has their own ways of looking at advocacy wise, or, some people didn't like John Horgan. Some people love John Horgan. I'm just telling you for the impact that he had on me personally for advocacy wise of standing up for myself. And he taught me and Sonia to stand up. He said, stand up, boy. So he said to me, stand up, boy. He said, you basically speak your mind, but say it in a nice, respectful way. Don't be scared about advocating and getting your voice heard. He says, if somebody tells you to be quiet down, go back, sit in the back of the room like you're advocating too much. He said, do not do that. You keep pushing forward. He says, advocacy doesn't take a break, right? He says, you may get results, but you make your point across of lived experience of how it affects you and people within your community and around your province. And he says, and broaden going across the country if that's what you got to do. I go, well, that's what I do. But I focus on, at the time, I focused on, for us, lived experience and also in the community and the province, right? And I always cherish those memories of advocacy-wise. But my point is that I'm hearing echoing comments regarding the fallout of the BC budget in my community, and I talked about this on the last podcast where we were talking about the fallout of the BC budget. The sorrow, the stories, they're endless. I mean, so many people that I had a group of them actually from another building that I rent from another company. I mean, it's here. They came out and they went and got some of their neighbors came out. Hey, I know you. Hey, you guys walk around the block here all the time. Oh my God, you must be wearing your shoes out. You walk a lot. I go, I love walking. Sometimes I have music on just to tune things out and just just put things into perspective. Like nice calming music and and but anyway, I got talking to them about the fallout. I'm trying to convince them, Neil. I'm trying to get someone to come on the podcast. They just don't right at this time. Some of them might, but right now they want us to carry their voices forward.
It's hard. I know.
Yeah,
We realize it is hard for
and
some people.
Yeah, and I get it because they said they're very emotional, and you know what? But the message that I'm hearing, they're pissed off. They're beyond pissed off, and it's not just them. I want David Eby, Brenda Bailey, all the MLAs from all the political parties, every single one. Okay, I want you all to hear this. They are so upset. They want to know, give them a reason. Okay, can you give them a reason why they should continue living in British Columbia? They are so upset that, and their families, it's not just them, their families and their parents and their grandparents. Like they are done. They're done with political games. They said that it's policy because what they're worried, this is the message that they want me to deliver to the current government. They are worried that you need to amend the BC budget to increase our rates. Find a way. They said, take a pay cut. They said they don't care. They said, stop hiring all those other.
Well, I would love if you and I had an opportunity to have somebody just open up the books and and do a line by line. I would love to do a line by line. I would love to spend 4 days doing a line by line on that budget and look at how much waste. You know that there's
I could find easily
so much waste in that budget, even though that there's they're still overspending.
I can easily find
there's huge amount of waste in there.
Yeah, I mean, I did accounting. I mean, I wasn't an accountant, but I mean, I learned that in high school. I carried that forward for 2 years of accounting in there, and then I learned that in college. We had to use spreadsheets and different basically add-on basically ledgers and this and that. And so I used that knowledge, and so I was already kind of ahead of the game learning that. But the fact, I guess, the point of what I'm trying to say here is the knowledge and the lived experience stories. They are resonating throughout our community, throughout our province, and around the country and around the world. I get messages from people saying, "What the hell is Canada doing for people with disabilities? What is your province doing? There's $0 in the BC budget? Like, I saw your post there, Brent. Oh my gosh! Like, are they that far disconnected that they have to give you $0? How do you pay for rent increases, cost of living?" I said, we're trying to figure that out. But if we had RGI, like we talked about earlier in the show here, we would have more money in our pocket. We could put it back into the community. You don't need to opt out of a bus pass. You can stay up to date. That's easy peasy. That could easily be fixed. That's cosmetic stuff, everybody. Just so you know, FYI on that. That could easily be fixed. So I'm going to be pushing the government on the RGI. Give them back that bus pass. Like everybody, automatically check it off. Bus pass, everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, bus pass, and let them by default that 52 is on your check. If you don't want it, you have to opt in to get it, right?
Yeah.
Now, if the cost of living's so high, I mean, my God, like it's not rocket science, but hearing the stories of people saying they want to leave BC because they're being disrespected.
I've lived, like I said, my birthday's at the end of the month. I'm going to be 58 years old. I've lived in Canada since I was born. I've lived in BC since I was born. Never been out of the province. I mean, I love BC. I love Canada, but like I said in a few podcasts ago, this is the first time in my life this is the first time in my life that I'm seriously thinking about moving to Singapore or something because David Eby has ruined the province so much. Like, I'll say it 10 times over. David Eby single-handedly has ruined the province. The province. On so many levels, Brent, on so many levels. The budget is only one level. But he's ruined the province on so many levels, Brent.
Well, and when when I'm hearing these stories, it's just so gut wrenching. I feel so much sorrow because I said to him, like, I want to change it for you. Like, I wish I could change it and actually say, yeah, everything's gonna be better. Everything's gonna be better in 1 week. I'm gonna have it retroactive back. You're gonna have money in your bank account. Because if I was in charge, I would find a way. I would find a way in that budget to amend it and actually make it better for people on low income, seniors, people with disabilities, low income people. And here's the part that really hurts the most is that when I'm hearing those stories of saying that they're allies, meaning like their parents are friends of their families, and they said they are beyond disgusted. What they worry about, what people are what they're saying is resonating around. I'm hearing from within BC and across the country. BC, they say, is a no-go zone. That I'm hearing, and people are they're saying, like, businesses they don't even want to do business in BC.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have to pay for 7% extra for security guards now, I mean, that's so stupid.
Well,
it's like, let's create a problem of street crime, and then we'll charge extra for it, you know?
Well, yeah, because the people that say they're low income, even like say the person with disabilities working at that small business, now you get all those other fees. They're going to be cut back. They say, no, I don't want them.
And they have to pay extra for, like, their accounting services now too.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so stupid.
And those
like,
accounting.
Talk about kick a person when you're down.
Well, yeah, they're going after the taxation on the lower end of the spectrum on that, and then they say, oh, minimum wage is going up June 1st. Well, minimum wage is going up by 2.1%. Your rent increase this year is 2.3%. So guess what? You're already paying more already, and the business is going to take a bite. So they're going to start cutting back.
David Eby was quoted a little while ago saying that that British Columbia has transitioned from a resource economy to a service economy.
Yes, I heard that.
And it's like, I don't believe that. The only reason you're saying that is because you've ruined the resource economy. You've ruined the resource economy. So now you're saying that the BC is transitioning to a service economy. But guess what? You're screwing that over too, because you're making businesses pay extra for security guards and pay extra for, like, your bookkeeping and all the rest of it. You know, it's just crazy. I know we have to punch out, but my last comment again, I'm going to go back to the beginning. I made a point of saying that I really want 5 or 6 BC NDP MLAs to grow a spine and to speak out and to say, you know what, I don't even support our own budget. Our own budget that we tabled as a BC NDP, I think it sucks. I want at least 5 or 6 BC NDP MLAs to say our budget that we tabled sucks. I don't support David Eby as premier. I want at least 5 or 6 BC NDP to grow a spine and say one or two of those things.
Yeah, you know, and I don't support the budget at all. I give it an F grade.
Yeah, well, and then you know, you heard David Eby says, "Well, what's wrong with an F?" You know,
I know.
Everybody else is getting an F. I'm okay with an F.
Yeah, yes, we said, he was okay with the grade.
Like,
he says,
why would you be okay with an F? You're an idiot.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's okay with the letter grade. Well, I'm sorry. I think most British Columbians are not okay with the budget, David. The fact is that the budget failed. You failed British Columbians. You failed people on low income. I mean, their families. You're actually putting strain on now the families because you put $0 in the BC budget. So now families who are already stretched to the hilt, who are now going to be paying more strata fees as of October 1st, by the way. and they're going to be paying higher cost of living. You're actually going after seniors who had their fees where they could extend it over a period of time.
Yeah, their property tax deferral.
Their tax deferral. So now
my parents are going to get screwed by that. By the way, completely screwed by that.
Now they're already on a fixed income, right? So now they're going after them. So the same families that would try to help out, maybe their their family members, persons with disabilities, maybe they could help them out. Now they can't even help them because you guys couldn't even put nothing in the budget. And the part, I guess, before we end the podcast here, I guess a couple of my final notes, my ending comments are: people within the communities that they live in, people within British Columbia, people who have lived experience disabilities, their family members, their allies, whoever's around them, they're worried that the current administration, meaning the current government, are neglecting people with disabilities, people on low income, seniors. What they're worried now is what I'm hearing, okay, and it really gives me a gut wrench feeling here, is that if once the NDP they change over to another government takes over, or they have a different leader who takes over once David Eby is either ousted out or steps down or calls a snap election, whatever happens, right? Whatever government gets in, let's just put it that way. People are worried, very worried, because of the cost of living, that another government comes in, they're not going to raise the rates because they're going to say the NDP under David Eby has caused the most the historic debt in BC.
Well, it's true though. It's true. Yeah.
And so they can change. Another government can say, like raise the rates. Mm-hmm. If you don't make it as a confidence vote, like if you don't do something in there to force the NDP to do it, or the NDP right now, like people are going to be in a real bad spot. You're going to see more homeless people.
That's why I want the budget to fail on confidence vote. I want a few BC NDP MLAs to say, well, you know what, I'm mad as hell. I hate our own budget. I hate David Eby. Let's fail the budget and let's call an election and let's have the BC citizens determine what the future of BC should be. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's how it should always be, Brent.
It should be. It should be on how British Columbians want to see how the governments work and what they want, how it affects our lives. Because another administration comes in, is that if this budget gets collapsed, whoever gets in, I want to make sure right away you raise the rates. I mean, all the advocacy groups are calling for it, or all the same advocacy groups that the government pays. Yeah. The government pays them.
They could start by axing like 50% of the public service.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like
right away.
Like they could just axe like 50%, they're just gone. That would save like countless tens of millions of dollars right there.
But it's just disheartening of sacrifice that people have to keep making. I mean, I grew up in BC since I was born in BC. Same thing, and it's not the BC I remember. My mom would be rolling over in the grave right now of seeing what is going on in BC. Oh my God, she'd be so disgusted on how this government is.
It's so bad. It's just
she
so bad.
Used to tell me, "Don't worry, it'll be fine, Dad." Yeah, I mean, the government's gonna take care of you. Yeah, I mean, that was the thought then, and I thought that too. Before my doctor had even diagnosed me with disabilities and assessed me, I thought that, because one of my neighbors, I talked about that in the story before, was badly injured, spinal cord injury, and now our last guest that we had on the podcast.
Yeah, I really want people to watch our last episode. By the way, it's not got very many views, but it was a great episode, great interview. So
and that's basically our last guest. One of my neighbors ended up being in the same position, and so it really, our last guest that we had on, Stephen, it was wonderful. Basically, kind of having him on the show and talking about what he's gone through. And it really reminded me of one of my neighbors who had gone through something similar. I told you about the story on that. And really like a life-changing situation, like so fast, like something can happen so fast. And people say, oh, no, that won't happen to me. Anything can happen. You can become disabled and get more disabilities in your life, life-alternating, changing situations, no fault of your own. Things can happen. And that's just how life is. So go back and look on the channel on that. Again, advocate, if you can advocate for yourself, everybody, push the government. I want you to phone the government. I want you to email the government. I want you to go down to your local MLAs, go down to your offices, tell them, raise the rates immediately, amend this.
Like I said, I want the MLAs themselves to get pissed off.
Yes, exactly.
Like within their own party. I want the BC NDP party to get pissed off. That's what I want to see.
I want you all to basically say that be respectful to people in your province. People just because they have disabilities. I mean, we are just who we are. I mean, you're seniors. You're just who they are. People on low income. They're just who they are. And I mean, one of the seniors here, he said, I just don't understand why the government is being so disrespectful. And the guy
Well, look who's running the ship now, though, Brent. Look who's all you have to do is look who's running the ship, and you know why the government's being disrespectful now is because the person that's running the ship is an idiot and a disrespectful person, right?
The guy who used to teach Taekwondo, and he says, I got belts, and I said, and I said, you know where I'm going with this, do you, young man? No, I don't. Okay, well, if you don't know where I'm going with this, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to park that conversation. Oh, okay. So he says, a word to the government, raise the rates.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an elderly guy.
Kick your ass.
Yeah, I know what he was basically saying. I'll kick your ass, basically, is what he's saying. But he's basically saying, like, show respect. And right now, there is no respect.
There is no respect.
I mean...
And it starts at the top. It starts at the top. And, I mean, that's all we have to say, right? The respect starts at the top. And if it's not at the top, it funnels down to everybody else. And like I said, everybody else's IQ...
Yeah,
I look at all the MLAs that I used to. There's some MLAs, BC NDP MLAs that I used to super respect, but I tell you, Brent, that since David Eby has taken over as premier, everybody's IQ there has dropped 30 points. Everybody's IQ has dropped 30 points over there. I swear.
It just seems like they are in a mode where they're so shocked they don't know what to say. Well, actually, they do know. That's the thing. They do know what to say because as people who follow parliamentary processes, MLAs, they can't. They want to say more. They can't because I've had some people ask me in the community before we end the podcast. I've had people ask me, Brent, why do the MLAs why can't they say anything? Because they actually have to sign. They have to sign an agreement. They have to sign an NDA. They can't. As much as they would love to talk about certain things, they can't talk about it. I know because I was under an executive at one point in time. I know.
But I'm still hoping that there's going to be a few that will speak up and say, you know what, I'm mad as hell.
Yeah.
I hate the direction that David Eby has run our government. I want them to say that. I hate the direction that David Eby has run the province. Grow a spine and say that. Admit that, please.
Yeah, I mean, you can say certain things. I mean, sure, you may not be able to talk about certain things, but you can say certain things. I know that they can because I kind of challenged that in an executive. And I can't talk about that, Brent. I can't talk about that. Why? I can't talk about that. One of the MLAs. Why can't you? Just leave it alone, Brent. I go, no. Why can't you talk about it? So I kept pushing it. It was like, I can't talk about shelter. I can't talk about it. Why not? Because they signed an NDA. Again, I get it. But at the same time, you can speak up in certain other ways. Yeah. The fact is, you're speaking on behalf of British Columbians. And I want to see about have respect, dignity. I mean, have the autonomy. I mean, everybody should have access to RGI. No PWD should be paying high market rent. Mm-hmm. My gosh, like my corporate landlord, again, guess what? Surprise. I said, hey, she goes, hey, how's it going? I go, good. Well, actually, I'll say good because I think it's a natural thing that people will say. How are you? Good. Because you don't want to be down and out. I say, actually not good. Oh no, everything okay? See, right away I said, I tested my manager. Oh, everything okay? I go, no, everything's not okay. I said, the government gave us again the $0. They're being disrespectful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Why would they do such a thing? I go, because they don't like people with disabilities. They don't like low-income people, and they don't like seniors.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way of showing exactly how they feel by giving a $0 increase. And again, I said,
pink unicorn for you, pink unicorn for you. Everybody gets a pink unicorn.
Well, I said to the manager, I go, how many years do I keep saying, I'm sorry, there's no rent increase. I mean, no money to cover that rent increase. It's not just rent increase, Brent. What about the cost of living? I go, exactly. Like that rent increase that you're going to be getting, even if they gave you $50, that pretty well doubles that rate up right there. Yeah. I said, yeah, well, you opt out a bus pass. There you go. That pays for the rent increase. Yeah, pretty much. So everybody, advocate the best way you can. Let your voices be heard. Shine forward. I mean, bombard the government. Phone the Minister of Finance. Phone David Eby's office at the Parliament building. Go to your local MLAs, whoever your local MLA is. Go to them. Email them. Blast them on social media. Whatever you gotta do, let them know. In BC,
Peter says that we should do another protest on the lawn of the legislature.
I think so. Peter, contact Jeff. Get it all set up, and we'll get
make it happen. Let's make it happen.
So, message to the media: stay tuned. You're going to see a press release announced in the coming days or coming weeks. Yeah. FYI, we're going to get loud and louder, because if the walls in the legislature, their ears are full of wax, we're going to clean them out. Yeah. Because apparently our voices weren't being heard. That's what the minister said, Peter. You remember that, the rally last one we read? Your voices aren't being heard. No, they are. Actually, Minister, I need to correct that. Our voices are being heard. You know who's not? Our voices are not being heard to? I think what it means is that our voices are not being heard to the current government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact is, Peter, you're right. I can't wait till the next rally. We're going to line up speakers, people and stuff. So yeah, stay tuned on that. We'll give you more announcements.
We got lots of friends in the media now, with Rob Shaw being one of them now.
Yeah. So stay tuned on that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I hope you really enjoyed it.
We always say we're going to go short and we go long, Brent.
We always go long because it's a long road ahead. Always so long.
The road is long and never a winding road.
Pink unicorn.
However that song goes,
like a punk unicorn, take it down the long road. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, share, comment.
You ain't heavy. You're my brother. Okay, bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thanks.